What if I told you that one of the most enduring conflicts of our time originated from a promise made during World War I? That promise, known as the Balfour Declaration, was made in the year 1917. The British Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour, wrote a letter to Lord Rothschild, a leading figure in the British Jewish community. In this letter, Balfour stated that the British government viewed favorably the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, Palestine was not a blank slate. It was a land already populated by an Arab majority and a Jewish minority. The Balfour Declaration, therefore, sowed the seeds of future discord. Following World War I, Britain assumed control of Palestine under an arrangement known as the British Mandate. The Mandate system was devised by the victors of World War I to administer the lands of the defeated Ottoman Empire. Under the British Mandate, Jewish immigration to Palestine increased dramatically. This influx, fueled by the persecution of Jews in Europe, led to growing tension between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab locals. The British struggled to maintain the delicate balance between the two communities, leading to outbreaks of violence. As the situation escalated, the issue of Palestine was handed over to the United Nations, the successor of the League of Nations, in 1947. The UN proposed a plan to partition Palestine into an Arab state and a Jewish state, with Jerusalem under international administration. This decision was met with joy by the Jewish community, but was vehemently rejected by the Arab nations. These events set the stage for a conflict that would span generations. The year 1948 marked a significant turning point in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In this year, the State of Israel was declared, a move that was met with immediate military opposition from surrounding Arab nations. The Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence, was a pivotal moment in the history of the region. The war ended with Israel increasing its territory beyond the original partition plan, setting the stage for future conflicts. Fast forward to 1967, and we find ourselves in the midst of the Six-Day War. Tensions between Israel and neighboring Arab nations had been escalating, culminating in a preemptive strike by Israel on Egypt. In just 6 days, Israel's military might prove decisive, allowing the nation to seize control of the Sinai Peninsula, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. This territorial expansion further intensified the conflict, as more Palestinians found themselves under Israeli occupation. As the dust of the Six-Day War settled, the Yom Kippur War of 1973 erupted. Egypt and Syria, seeking to reclaim territories lost in 1967, launched a surprise attack on Israel on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. The war was marked by initial Arab successes, followed by a fierce Israeli counteroffensive. The aftermath of this war saw a shift in the dynamics of the conflict. While it didn't result in significant territorial changes, the Yom Kippur War led to a change in regional alliances and opened the door for diplomatic dialogues. The fallout of these wars was substantial. They not only changed the physical borders of Israel but also set the stage for a protracted and complex conflict that has yet to be resolved. The wars deepened the divide between Israel and Palestine, with each side harboring grievances and claims over the same land. They also drew in neighboring countries, complicating the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East. These wars brought about significant changes in the geopolitics of the region. The late 20th century saw a shift from conventional warfare to uprisings and peace deals. The First Intifada, a series of Palestinian uprisings against Israeli occupation, began in late 1987 and lasted until 1993. This was a seismic shift in the conflict, with Palestinians using civil disobedience, general strikes, boycotts, and even stone-throwing to resist Israeli rule. In the midst of this turmoil, hope emerged in the form of the Oslo Accords, signed in 1993 and 1995. These agreements, brokered by Norway, marked the first face-to-face agreement between the government of Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. The accords proposed a gradual withdrawal of Israeli forces from parts of the West Bank and Gaza, and the establishment of a temporary Palestinian self-government, the Palestinian Authority. Yet, even as these peace processes were underway, the Second Intifada erupted in 2000, following the failure of the Camp David summit. This uprising was more violent than the first, with suicide bombings becoming a tragic hallmark. Thousands lost their lives, and the peace process was derailed. One key event during this period was the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1995. Rabin had been a key player in the Oslo Accords, and his death was a significant blow to the peace process. His assassin was a right-wing Israeli extremist who opposed the accords, reflecting the deep divisions within Israeli society over the question of peace with the Palestinians. The assassination of Rabin, the failure of the Camp David summit, and the eruption of the Second Intifada all underscored the fragility and complexity of the peace process. The path towards a resolution proved to be fraught with setbacks, and each event left deep scars on both sides. These events highlighted the complexity of achieving a lasting peace. The new millennium has been marked by a seemingly endless cycle of violence and failed peace initiatives. As we journeyed into the 21st century, a new player emerged on the scene: Hamas. Born out of the First Intifada, Hamas rapidly gained popularity among Palestinians, especially in the Gaza Strip. Their rise to power in 2006 led to a sharp escalation in tensions, culminating in a blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt on Gaza. This blockade, still in effect today, has had a profound effect on the lives of the people living in Gaza, exacerbating an already dire humanitarian situation. Parallel to this, the issue of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem has been a major point of contention. These settlements, considered illegal under international law, have grown exponentially over the years. This expansion, along with the construction of the controversial separation barrier, has resulted in the fragmentation of Palestinian land and the isolation of Palestinian communities. On the international stage, the United States has long played a pivotal role in the conflict. Its unwavering support of Israel has drawn criticism from many quarters. However, the U.S. is not alone in its involvement. The European Union, Russia, and the United Nations have also tried unsuccessfully to broker peace. Other regional players like Jordan and Saudi Arabia have voiced concerns and attempted to sway the course of events. Despite numerous attempts, a resolution seems as distant as ever. The complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, deeply rooted in history, religion, and politics, present a formidable challenge. As we move further into the 21st century, the hope for a peaceful resolution hangs in the balance, with the lives of millions caught in the crossfire. So, where does the Israeli-Palestinian conflict stand now in 2023? Well, recent developments have seen significant international involvement. Jordan's King Abdullah II has expressed concern about potential changes to Jerusalem's holy sites, warning of red lines that could lead to conflict if crossed. This warning comes in response to Israel's most right-wing government in history, which includes figures calling for changes to the status quo at these holy sites. As Jordan has been the custodian of Jerusalem's holy sites since 1924, any changes to their status could significantly affect the region. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, has urged Israel's new government to engage seriously in resolving the Palestinian conflict. Saudi Arabia has linked any formal ties with Israel to the resolution of Palestinian statehood goals, highlighting the interconnectedness of these issues. Additionally, Qatar has pledged $60 million to build a natural gas pipeline from Israel into the Gaza Strip. This project aims to end the energy crisis in Gaza, a crisis exacerbated by the Israeli and Egyptian blockade. The pipeline is expected to be completed this year, signifying a significant step towards alleviating the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. As for the current leaders, their stances could greatly impact the future of the conflict. With Israel's most right-wing government in history, there is a risk of escalating tensions. On the other hand, international pressure and involvement could push for a resolution. The human cost of this conflict has been immense. Thousands of lives have been lost, and the region has been marred by years of instability and unrest. The impact extends beyond the Israeli and Palestinian communities, affecting neighboring countries, and even global politics. However, amidst these challenges, there are glimmers of hope. The Qatari-funded pipeline, for example, shows that cooperation is possible and that there are practical solutions to some of the issues at hand. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains one of the most complex and controversial issues of our time. The path to peace is fraught with obstacles, but as long as dialogue continues, there remains a chance for resolution.